Did you do that? I think we are live. Let's see. I believe that we are live. And we are. Okay, so guess what? This is our first live stream. And look, it's already exciting. So welcome to the Cranky Thumb Collective Kranky-Making first live stream. We are so glad that you're here. When I say we, it is me and my lovely spouse who is in our studio corner. We are doing this work together of live streaming, so welcome. This Kranky-Making event and so many more Cranky events will be about collage making. Our hope in doing Kranky-Making events is that you will discover a new act of making that you can take with you and focus on and do when you are away from all of your screens, including this one. Today's Kranky-Making event, being focused on collage, we're going to get started really trying to get grounded in all of the tools of collage, tools that are used for collage. I hope that as this is a lot of folks midday, that this is a nice pause, that you have an opportunity to kind of take a deep breath and center yourself as we engage in this simple and beautiful act. So I'm going to change screens so we can get started. All right. Sliding over to all the fun stuff that we have here. So with collage, and collage has a really rich history, which we're going to talk about in future sessions. One of the wonderful aspects of collage is just how simple and portable collage making can be. And so I wanted to show you what I meant by that. One of the things that you can do is basically do collage anywhere. So when we go out, frequently we take snacks with us. And another thing that you can take with you are the tools that you need for collage making. So I have those tools right here, and I'm going to show those to you. So I like to work a lot with construction paper, and you'll see that in my trusty collage bag that I can take anywhere I go. I've got primary colors, which are my favorite colors to work with. And then in addition, I usually have this, I love pink. I have kind of a contrasting pink color that goes along with these. So of course, the first thing would be some form of paper that you want to work with. And as I mentioned, I like using construction paper. And this is just two examples that you can see with the primary color paper that I use. And then also you might see in here that I have pieces of different pieces of boxes, and one is a rice box, and I think one is a cracker box. And what I do with these pieces of cardboard, like here, this is Carmen's Family granola cereal, and this is again the rice box. So what I do when I'm creating collages is I glue the construction paper onto food packaging boxes that have come into our house, food that we eat. So always trying to make good use of those. And then these I just stuck in my trusty collage bag, because like this lovely little piece, something like that, you can do a collage on quite easily, make a nice little bookmark. So as you can see, we'll see when we start getting into the cutting. It's really so simple to be able to do this. Okay, so we talked about the different color paper. We've talked about the cardboard if you wanted to glue it on something. Let's not forget about the scissors. I use a little pointed pair of scissors, and I like them to be small. You can use any kind of scissors that you like. I like the pointed ones because it seems like it's easier to cut around corners with the point. I also use a really common glue. This is just Bic glue stick. I choose not to use the, I guess it's pronounced Uhu glue. And the reason for that is that the Uhu glue actually sticks so fast. It's such great glue. It makes it really hard for collage because once you stick that piece of paper, it is stuck. The other thing that I use is a pencil, and that's if I want to draw out some of the shapes that I do first. And sometimes I do that, and sometimes I just kind of do my collaging without any drawing and just kind of do it freeform. So there's our basic tools that you can carry with you anywhere that you go. So next I want to talk about, let's get into this, the cutting piece of this. Next I want to talk about what are the shapes and forms that we want to cut for collaging. I find, and you'll see one here because I was just starting to actually do a little bit of collage work earlier. I really like to start with circles. And circles in nature, circles are actually one of the most, if not the most prevalent shapes in nature. So I find that when I'm doing collage, if I'm kind of not sure where to go, and that can end up happening a lot of times, that I will simply just start with a circle. And in order to be able to draw a circle that, you know, looks pretty decent, I can do on freehand, but sometimes I just choose a random lid. Again, I'm all about reuse here. I pick a lid and then I will draw a circle on my lid, and I'm going to show you that. I'll move all this paper to the side for a second. So I'm just going to get a circle going here. And I try not to be too precious about it because I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I think that collage is all about imperfection. So I think we need not be too perfect about it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started in my own collage making with cutting out the circle. And today what I'd like to encourage us to do, and I say this because I actually find it a little bit difficult to do, is if we can, I would like us to just sit and look at our different papers. If you have construction paper, if you choose to use that, or if you have magazines, whatever item that you've picked as far as the item that you're going to be cutting out, I'd like us to just sit and be kind of grounded in the act of cutting without starting to assemble it into the larger collage. Let's see how long we can, or if we can do that. I find that when I start getting the shapes going, that I am immediately like, oh, this goes with this and this goes with this, but I want to see if we can just kind of be in the cutting for a little bit. So one of the things, as I think about circles, and I ask myself, Mary, why are you so drawn to circles? Is I feel like within us that we all have this kind of visual language, and that we're all drawn to different shapes and forms that we see in nature. And I think that the circle for me is one of those forms. And when I've researched, actually this is part of one of my theses, when I researched circles in nature, I discovered that the prevalence of the circular form is attributed to nature's persistent effort to achieve a state of equilibrium. And I really appreciate that because it makes me wonder if when I am cutting out these circles and placing them, if that's me basically trying to find kind of this harmony and balance in collage making. Okay, so now I've got my base circle. I'm not going to try to form anything. I'm going to resist the urge. I'm going to move to green because I love the color green. And I think I'm going to draw, let's see, I really like waves, but I like leaves. I think I'm going to draw a leaf. Let's see, I'm just going to do a really simple leaf. You don't have to draw this, my goodness, but I have to say I'm a little bit nervous doing this live stream, so I'm going to draw it because I figure if I don't draw it. But before the day is out, I'm going to just sit and cut a leaf without drawing first. I hope that you are in your location doing some cutting too, and I'm hoping that you are finding it very relaxing. All right, my leaf is on the way. If you would like to put any of the shapes that you are cutting in the chat, then we would be happy to learn about those. I'm going to do another leaf, and it's going to be a little bit more organic in that, a little more curves. These are kind of my favorite types of leaves anyway. Okay, got another little leaf there. And now another shape that I really see right away. I'm like, ooh, let's do that. Okay. Actually, let me put this paper up here. Another shape that I am really drawn to, for whatever reason, is, I call it like the top of a mushroom. And these end up in a lot of my collages. So you see in my work, I end up with, I find that some of my work consists of geometric shapes, some consists of organic shapes, and I think it's this kind of lovely combination of the two that really allows you to create something interesting. So I'm going to go over here, and I've just cut out what I just call that top of the mushroom shape. I'm going to keep going around because I also like this kind of arch, this arch shape. So this is something that's kind of interesting too in collage. That's called, my understanding is it comes from this idea of dark to light, the idea of contrast. There's a Japanese word for it, notan, N-O-T-A-N. And so you have this kind of negative space, this light space, and then this dark space. And as you can see, these two can go together, but they're much more interesting. They have this bilateral symmetry, if you will, and notan when you put them together. So that really creates some interesting possibilities. So you see I have this nice little pile of shapes here. And I'm just going to keep going. I love this blue. So I'm thinking with this blue, the other one that I mentioned to you that I really like is Waves. So that one I think actually, let's see. Let's do that this way. I'm just going to do a little wave where I use the side of the paper. That's kind of interesting as well. And then I want to do one like this kind of another shape that shows up a lot for me. I should have drawn it close. Actually, you know what? Let me just keep going and then I could cut it into parts. So just take it down to the edge, my little drawing. And I hope if you're watching, you're doing lots of cutting and that you are finding this a relaxing act. So thinking about a visual language, I've wondered if how much of that has to do with your own geography. We happen to we're very fortunate to live close to the sea, kind of on the line between the Adriatic and the Aegean Sea, as we've come to understand it. And so I get to see waves frequently. So I have wondered if the waves that I see out in nature, of course, end up somehow in my subconscious, and then I just want to have them in my art, which I think that's wonderful. But I want to encourage you when you go out, if you think about the shapes and the forms and the patterns that you are drawn to, and then think about incorporating those into your collage making activities. Kind of a way of connecting with nature. All right, so I have to say, I really, really like that wave. That's pretty cool. And look, then the negative of that is really interesting. So this is that Natan idea with negative space, dark and light. Very neat. All right, I haven't used my yellow yet. Guess what? I'm feeling another circle come on. So I think it's circle time. And this time, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Another thing I like to do, slight tangent, is when I take out these little caps for the circles, I try to remember what it was that I used. So this might be kind of obvious. I'm sitting here, I'm guessing this is probably some kind of water bottle, but it makes me very conscious of my consumption. And I think that's a beautiful facet of collage making. There's a collage artist named John Steziker, I believe is how you pronounce his name. And he says, collage allows the opening up of conscious, which is very direct. And it's also a way of looking at what you are consuming all of the time. And that's something that's really important to me. So collage with found objects or collage with all of these food packages that we get, I think it really creates an opportunity for us to be super conscious of everything that we are consuming And then to be able to kind of give back in a way by doing this, by creating beauty, by making our mark for good with our collage making. All right, so there's one little circle. Again, trying not to be, can you tell I struggle a little bit with perfectionism? It's true. It's evident right now. All right, and now I'm gonna do a freehand one because I need to. Okay, there we go. 3 beautiful yellow circles. I think the paper cutting, another very grounding act as you think about, I think I asked this on social media, if folks remembered the first time you picked up a pair of scissors, the first time that you were allowed to cut something. I know that scissors in my house, it's like you had to respect the scissors, and of course, my God, whatever you do, don't run with them, which is super important. But now to be able to sit and cut paper in a relaxed manner, I think is a wonderful gift. Okay, now if we take a look at what we have some good, really interesting pieces coming together. I just want to put them all in a pile there so we can look at those. And I see the colors. I feel like I need a little more red here. And I also think I'm going to take this circle, I'm going to cut it in half. Because that's going to be really interesting to use as well. All sorts of things that we can do. Okay, more red. So for my red shape, I'm just going to do something completely different shape, I think, here. I look forward to when we talk about some of the history of collage and look at artists like, of course, Matisse, who coined the term drawing with scissors, and who had a team of folks who would, his assistants, who would paint on paper the colors that, specific colors that he selected, and then he would take these huge pair of shears and just cut the paper out into different shapes and then assemble those shapes. And then of course Picasso, so many wonderful artists who've been doing this work. All right, that's a bit of a different shape. just cleaning that up a little bit. Okay, we have this one. Nice. Now I'm going to do just some simple geometric shapes. You see I have a lot of organic shapes here and I want to balance those out. So I'm going to just do a couple squares. Actually, I'm going to do some rectangles. Like so. Okay, actually there's my square. And then I'm going to take this lovely blue. I'm going to do triangle. And another triangle. Now you see all these pieces that I have that have the little cutouts from them. What I typically do with these is put them, I have them all stored in this lovely box here that I want to show you. So these would go in here, and you see that this is just a collection of lots of little bits of paper that is cut out. I've been collaging now for I guess about 2 years. Really feeling drawn to do art more in the physical world than in the digital world. And so I've been just kind of collecting all the little bits, which is wonderful I wanted us to be able to kind of create our own collection that we didn't start to assemble yet. So you see we have all of these wonderful pieces, and if you two decide to create your own box, then you can store that and come back to it and have all of your little bits. But for now, I see that we're coming close to time. What I'm going to do, these all look wonderful. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep cutting throughout the rest of the week, and I'm going to add to these. And I'm going to ask if you've been also engaged in this paper cutting, if you will do the same, and that you will add to those. And then when we meet next week, and it's going to be hard because I'm going to see this pile and I'm going to want to arrange them every time I'm sitting next to them. But I hope that what you will do is we'll basically both come back next week and we'll take a look at our wonderful collection of shapes and forms, and then together we can sit and start working out how we would like to make our collage. But for now, being mindful of time, I hope that this has been an enjoyable time together, really just getting into doing some paper cutting and engaging in something that can be so simple with a pair of scissors. I hope that you found it relaxing, and I hope that you'll come back next week where we can take all of the shapes that we've cut out and we can start to assemble those together in collage. We have lots more that we can do together, and lots more that we can learn. So thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing